το ζήν, το τέλος ο χρόνος.
Так. So today we break down Treadmoor, and this stuff is crazy. Like I was planning a long time ago to do this. Так, let me check sound. Maybe make a little louder. Так. Let me check. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, so kind of here, make a little louder. Yeah, okay. So, yeah, I don't know for any, maybe like make it like disclaimer, like 18 plus for this, because kind of like it's kind of crazy artist, but he is super professional, and I respect this guy. It's fantastic work he do. So let me show you. Так. The second. Wrong file. The second. So I was mentioned a lot about composition, about like perspective as an aspect of composition. So it's not just about how to make pictures look real or how to make 3D. It's too shallow, you know. It's just like small part, like a speckle from whole scope what you're working with, and the perspective integrated, like mainly I think like it's most important aspect of perspective, as it's also tool for composition. So let me show you here. So let's say so in the image, right, like we have picture. In the picture we have 3D and 2D. So 3D, it's illusion which we create, you know. So we kind of like a playing game with the viewer. We say like, hey, you want to see some parallel world, you know, it's like a real, it's also have a depth, have like 3D space, have 3D objects, 3D form. So we create illusion, make it very believable, and the viewer, he needs to like play along with us. He want to believe it, so that's why it works. You know, I kind of can imagine like someone who reject this game. So you will show him picture, and he will only see it as a just kind of flat image, or like marks on paper, just some bunch of lines, you know. He's like, okay, what is that? Kind of, I don't interest in. So you can imagine like someone who will not make this connection between flat image and the actual world around him, you know. We're making this connection is some kind of like it's a game which we teach each other how to play, you know. So hello, Krasnan. Yeah, so and the image, you see this like 3D structure, like I've been talking about this a lot, you know. So it's like XYZ. Yeah, let's just XYZ. Basically it's like all about XYZ. And then 2D structure, which is being by beginners being neglected a lot, and the more serious you became, like more experience you get, more practice you do, more maybe you curious, more professional you became, you start to like dig into laws and principles standing behind composition and like like how we can work with a viewer. So there, everybody recommend these books like Rudolf Arnheim, Visual Thinking, Art and Visual Perception. So it's kind of like how to draw Scott Robertson. You should to have at your home. So right now, like I did this first step, I have it at home, but I'm not finished reading it actually. But it's kind of talking about this. So what is 2D structure? Basically, it's kind of like breaking down physics of this flat surface. So, it's like you're trying to, it's kind of crazy, but you are kind of like revealing and deconstructing properties of this surface. Like what you're working with and what kind of potential it have. And all these artists and thinkers kind of, they're talking about like let's on him about kind of like energy of frame, kind of like, I don't know where to find it. Let's take so this creative illustration by Andrew Loomis. Yeah, you see accidentally flash some boobs. So, and here talking about this symmetrical and asymmetrical subdivision of a paper, of a picture frame. So, because this kind of lines, this mathematics, it's underlying kind of like energy of material you're working with. So it's very hard kind of like explain. I need to really like spend more years kind of philosophizing about this. But there is like different approaches. Like some Russian artist I hear, he was talking about when he worked with paper, he actually he feeling it as some kind of form of reality, and he is like sculpting this form. So main point here is when you think about 2D structure, it's not just some kind of rules in a school, like, oh, you need to learn this kind of rules. No, it's first of all you need to understand is like it's about physics of a work surface. So because this is your actual object kind of you're dealing with. So and you can go deeper in the properties of this material. And so for example, like, I don't know how to say, so it's kind of like these principles, they came from it. It's like you're, like you take this kind of intellectual shovel and reveal it inside this surface. Так. So, and then let's say we'll explain what I mean. Так. Let's look an example. Yeah, this Trad Moore, he give like amazing masterclass in this 2D composition. Так, I don't know, let's take... Так, let's take this thing for example. So first a little show you around. So here is like alien. Then this stuff. So it's kind of like he has this taste for psychedelic kind of groove, and it's not necessary. It's no need to be psychedelic. It's like you can be like absolutely in a kind of classical realism, but he just like kind of he push it further, and it's like help to. It's kind of like revealing, show it more clearly these abstract principles. So first I just look, and then I will break it down for you. I will explain what is kind of like underlying principles here. Because if we take some like iconic classic masters who draw like kind of just realistic scenes, some like it can be like marine landscapes or some kind of battle scenes, some daily life scenes, portraits. They all have these things. They all have this like composition. To the abstract composition. Так. It's just so cool. So let's take this one for example. What else? So, and here I have this his sketches. So for example, this like very small sketches of a cover composition, and then when he start develop it on original size, and you see here he break it down this like squares. So it looks like kind of like 1 centimeter squares, which he subdivide to 5 millimeters, I guess so, or at least it's just like squares divided in halves. So basically it's like he work with a square, and this square might make a right angle, which like a golden cut right angle. So you see again these squares and squares here, and here we have subdivision. So they're not always symmetrical composition, but he puts the squares everywhere. Interesting, right? So let's go and look what here's doing. So he have like a very smart 2D composition, and so you see these squares, it's kind of like in Andrew Loomis, this symmetrical subdivision. Like, I'm not sure exactly why Fred Moore doing this, like where he takes this system, like I cannot find anywhere. But this definitely is like this golden cut idea of subdivision. So it's like, you know, when you have this like 2 and 3 ratio, and then you can subdivide it as many parts as you want. So he, for some reason, he prefer this rectangle structure. But why he doing this? How it works? First of all, it's kind of like for yourself. It serve as this kind of like a kick to remind and reveal structure of a flat surface. So it's not this kind of like empty, like formless thing. No, it became like structured system kind of. So he reveals these properties of a surface on which he create his image. So, and these subdivisions, you see, they reveal also this kind of like abstract energy which this surface contain. And this, like, again, like find this book like Rudolf Arnheim, he talking a lot about this, and it's very important. So what is the abstract composition? It's exactly it's kind of like a music. So how music work? You will kind of like spend a lot of time and like effort, and you will never able to explain in words what is music, how it works, kind of, you know. It's something you can experience, and you need to hear. So yeah, then you can explain like principles, you can explain structure and like how to do this, but it's an abstraction which works on you. So same with visual abstraction. This abstraction is like manipulating and influence viewer. And as an artist, you can break down principles on which abstract composition works, so you can also influence viewer now, right? So, and again, it's this kind of thing about like for beginner, for some amateur, like it will all sound like absolutely unnecessary or like some kind of schizophrenic stuff, which is kind of is, because it's totally made up, but is made up as every art made up, you know. It's like words made up, meanings made up. Yeah, we made this all up, and this is why we can break it down, right? Because we see how it really clearly works. So we can create certain shapes which will create certain influence, and as artists who work with the shapes, it's your literacy, it's your grammar. So, and these shapes, they're kind of like, you know, imagine it's like they're living within your paper. So, and you can kind of like reveal them and make them work for you in your picture. So let's see what we see, like kind of like different levels. So it's kind of like a first step or option. We see it's like subdivision, and then in a Fred Moore it's these squares. So when he's like built his frame starting from big square, and then he can make like golden cut, or sometimes it's like he kind of make it not perfect golden cut frame, but they're always like this main square, in his image, which he subdivide, and he can subdivide it in like let's show you. So he can, like here, he subdivided in 20. So left side is a 10 squares, right side 10 squares. So this square here is 20 and 20, this squares. But some other image I were looking, he have like instead of 10 he have 9, and other one had like 9.5. So whatever you subdivide is just like these sides of a square, they should have like equal amount, so they make this like equal square. So then can be golden cut principles. So what is like golden cut? You know, when you can have this like diagonal drop down. So anyway, it's like around this 2 and 3, just little less than 3. So then what we see, what he's doing, what kind of like I adore most in this kind of style, it's like absolute clarity. So it's just like worship of clarity, you know. So, and you can see like how he been influenced by Möbius, like definitely, you know, this kind of Möbius clarity, and probably this like direction for psychedelic theme, kind of maybe Möbius been influenced him for this. So clarity, it's the core, it's like first brick here, right? So everything in his picture serves as a composition tool, or it's giving you some like clear, kind of clear establishment of like say its object, its situation, its shape, not any random Haitian random line, you know. So maybe it should be like a pyramid, you know. So let's consider it other way. So if like ground, it's 2D structure is like property of surface, this can be like, in his case, is this squares, right? So squares, and then like going up, so it's like foundational layers, and then it's like next level which stands on a previous level. So like ground itself, it's like properties of this material. Then like essential, it's a clarity. So this pursue like total dedication to clarity. It's like very essential here. So then next, shapes, right? So everything, like every mark, every line, it's a shape, and even shape between shapes, right? So you make shape, then you have second shape, and then it should be shape between these two shapes. That's it. Like you cannot avoid this, because you have, once you have this, right, like so you have enclosed space, this your image, and you make like one shape, you make other shape. So let's say shape A, shape B, and you get eventually shape C, which is this shape around your shape A and B, because before you place A and B, it's already been this kind of like shape of a frame. So you already get this like initial shape, and when you put A and B within it, it's kind of like you start to kind of like moving around, like, you know, like you're open it, or it's kind of, you know, it's create certain action already. So you cannot avoid everything is the shapes. So it's kind of like next level of understanding what happened inside composition, inside paper. So it's require like crazy amount of like intellectual focus, you know, like I don't know, like how explain. It's like almost you should be super sharp. This dude is sharp like crazy. So let's show you. Just take any, let's take, here was yeah, let's take this one. I mean, it's like he gone very far, right? So he's playing around, like make it really wild. So it's example of this stuff, right? So we have like layers, not only like on the one surface we have these positive and negative shapes, but also he started making layers, kind of making this like in the Photoshop, right? Like you have like, okay, here arrangement of one shapes and negative shapes, then next layer we have like another arrangement of positive and negative shapes, and now we're kind of like looking on a stack of these different layers, and eventually they all together also create this like summary of positive and negative shapes. So you see like this, like her hair, it's this kind of positive shape, right? And we have like negative shape between here, here. Then this kind of branches, leaves and branches. Leaves and branches is positive shape, but it's also about negative shapes. They're very important, as they're all equally important. So this kind of, it's came from clarity. So it's like when you pursue like absolute clarity, then you realize, yeah, every shape should be established. You cannot have like a random shape. Like every shape is established by your like composing them. Так. So then patterns. So patterns, you know, imagine look like this. We can see different artist works, and they have like different like level of realism and abstraction, or let's say like a direction towards naturalism. So in this kind of naturalistic direction, we can see artists, kind of, he definitely, you will use this textures, right? So it's like texture, let's say, so here we have like a grass, and you kind of just like create this abstract texture of grass. So this is like noise, like kind of very chaotic thing, right? But then, because these dudes like Möbius and Fred Moore, they say like, no, it should be absolutely kind of like crystal clear. Everything should be crystal clear. So, and instead of making texture for grass, for smoke, for fire, for clouds, skin, whatever, hair, everything should be structuralized into array of shapes. So instead of a texture of grass, we have like, okay, say like general shape of grass, and then it can be like different way. Let's say it can be like couple layers of grass. So you kind of making these shapes for grass, or it can be like you make grass like some kind of triangles, you know. So you have like now, because you create this like arrangement of shapes to show this, like can be overlapping, let's say, right? You can also, you kind of choose in properties. So your pattern is certain shapes with certain principle, like how you arrange these shapes. So, and this you call like pattern. So let's again look for example. Yeah, so you see clearly it's like pattern of branches here, pattern for a hair. So he show like outline and he shows this like shadow. Then like for a tree, it's like it doesn't have like how's called bark, right? It's like instead of make it as texture, he also make it as pattern, like hair here. So this pattern, so you see it's like triangles, right? So her here is like hair is triangles. They can be also like little curved, and then it can be like this. So yeah, we'll go next to this like here pattern. This some kind of like visual effect. It's like a breaking chains here. Pattern of this gears. Let's see, where's, yeah, this one pattern also. You see it's kind of wave lines. This pattern, where's, find some. So zero texture, everything about pattern. So here again, this girl hair, it's a pattern, you see. This like woman hair, it's like another pattern. Same pattern can be fire, but here they work as a hair, right? Then this is kind of like a texture actually, right? Yeah, I don't know, it's kind of discussionable. It can be pattern or texture. This pattern, for example, right? So I find it like very interesting. So instead of make it just like some kind of sensational random texture, you look as artist, you look how to simplify and organize, right? So and you see, so let's say here we have like 3 objects. It's like firearm, hand, and this like alien eggs. And how using patterns, how you can show difference. And you see it's clearly read as a different objects. So it's like a firearm is very linear, kind of like geometrical. Her hand, these fingers, they're kind of like fluid, but feels like a water kind of, right? Organic. And this thing is like, I don't know how to say, some like a guts, yeah. So it's some kind of a guts, you know. So he been like choosing patterns, and you see this kind of patterns, they create a subconscious reaction. So this like subconscious message here is like, okay, this thing is not alive, is a man-made. This thing is some kind of natural and healthy, and this thing is some kind of like unhealthy, you know. It's like a kind of like a guts going out from a belly, kind of, you know, unhealthy thing, not something people want to observe or experience, you know. So patterns, right? So you see, again, I go on like each previous step, make next step to be possible, kind of they're being like essential part element to make this happen. So clarity as a principle, shapes as a core element, then patterns as arrangement of shapes, and then these patterns creating rhythms. So working with patterns, you create in rhythms, and so this kind of rhythms, you know, is like, again, let's say you triangle and you kind of like keep repeating it. It can be like different space between this repetition. So, and our eye kind of following this, and it's kind of like start to play music in your mind. So rhythms, transitions. Transition is like in her hair, like I've been showing. So when, say, you have this like triangular pattern, but then so it's kind of like a rhythm, but we have transition, and maybe then is some kind of became fluid, and then again became angular. So this is kind of like how rhythms go into transition is just like, I think it's more informative than just a rhythm. So let's show again. All of them, it's okay, but you see is yeah, it's very cool. So let's say this thing here, right? So we have this rhythm go in this direction, and let's say like it's go in this direction, like 1, 2, 3, kind of 3, but then it became this thing, and we have like again doom 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 doom, and then this thing transition to this doom 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 doom, more like longer shapes, and then it's kind of going away here. Then you see how like this pattern, kind of this rhythm, this direction going into her fingers. So it's a transition too. So let me take dun, 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 dun. Where's this thing? Tools. Okay. Here, let me show you. Yeah, okay. There you. Okay. So you see this kind of movement here, right? And so initially this, or not initial, but kind of, let's say, this overall movement going like this, and it's shown like form of this gun, and her hand, these fingers, they kind of follow in this movement, but they're like waving. some kind of like a flowing, like a waterfall or like river flow, and then this like moving very, very geometrical. Then her hair, like from this direction, transition, you see, start to go more and more like this. So it's kind of rhythm, but instead of being just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, you making it go somewhere. So this is how you create dynamism and certain kind of like musical elements, you know. So, and there where we start talk, it's like a music, because you see again, all this is can be like very theoretical, and it's like say, oh, I need to manage all this stuff, I need to organize, measure it somehow. It's like very dry and kind of like unnecessary. But then eventually you start to see that it's not about just making shapes for themselves, you know. All these shapes, it's kind of like how you create this musical composition. So, you know, imagine like in the music can be like underlying rhythm. You know how people make music. I seen some documentaries or something. So you have first, it can be like a rhythm or a tune, and this like, let's say some drum kind of, or some tune, main tune, and then this other instrument, other rhythms start to grow around this main tune, right? So you can create like a very sophisticated, very complex composition with all these rhythms, all these melodies, and they will be like intertwined, they will like flowing from one to other, exactly how we're doing it with the visual elements. So you basically you creating like a visual, like kind of like a visualization of a music. And for me it's really like almost like a sound, you know. It's just kind of will be not properly to say you can hear it. I think it's something which like exists before music. So if we take like kinetic, like a dance, we take visual, like this kind of images on a surface, on a wall, on a screen, not important, it's just like a surface images. And we take like poetry, prose, and the music. They all will have this kind of like a musical thing which kind of before this form. So you know, so it's why kind of like you, when you hear some symphony, you kind of like start to visualizing it. You can see some kind of picture in your mind, you know. Or when you write poetry, or you try and even to find the phrase, like how to formulate, how to verbalize certain thing. At certain moment, you can notice it's something like you're trying to create harmonious tune. It's like it should be like a sound good. It's not enough to make just some kind of chunks together. They should create a harmonious sound. So this kind of like harmony or kind of can be like static harmony, dynamic harmony, whatever. This kind of like a music, which is like proto music, you know, kind of hard to talk it, but I think you know what I mean. So, and I was like in art college, and my anatomy teacher, he mentioned, I think it was like Italian artist Cerlones. So, and he says this artist, he was composer, like music composer, writing like actual symphonies for orchestra, and he was also painter, and he make paintings with the music inside. So like when you watch his painting, you can see like all these vibrations, rhythms, and you know, it's like, let's say, you know, like a tiny instruments, like tin 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 tin, and then like, and like, so all this is abstract visual tools. You have it, and this what Trent Moore also do in his work. So everything here is kind of creating this music. So look at this. That's just so cool. Like, so we have this like it's kind of like a razor, like sharp kind of spark, and then this like small particles, like a din 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 din, and then like deltoid, right? So he creates this like rhythm in deltoid, and this like fluid form of muscles in the body. It's kind of next level thing. It's like a poetry, visual poetry. Here you see it's like, let's take here some kind of music. So, you know, it's just like different artists, he can create different type of music. This, I guess, is some kind of like a rave. But just look at this. See, it's like this, like sun flares, or this kind of like energetic explosions, like vroom 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 vroom, and then it's like with kind of waves. That's so crazy. In this like fluid thing for his kind of Silver Surfer. So it's like fluid, like a leaf form on a surf. And then we have like, is like what I was talking about, the layers of shapes. So it's like on the back layer is this like right angles. Some kind of Freemason stuff here, I see. Yeah, crazy. Yeah, so, but anyway, I think like Artist Academy should be some kind of Freemason stuff initially. So it's kind of very complicated. But just like look at this. It's kind of have edgy, soft, kind of like aggressive, and also like calming and like meditative elements in it, and they all organized, they all harmonize here. It's like mind-blowing. Just like quality of such work, I will say, you know, is like something you can have only one of his picture and watch it entire life, and it will feel like bottomless, you know. It just feels like some kind of not from this world. It's just how poetry, you know, how this like in the Japanese, you know, here's this when the samurai, like he shoot there's some kind of tradition I hear. I forget how it exactly goes, but you know, like this tanka, like a two-line poetry, and they say like samurai, when he know it's like last moment of his life, so he have like just enough time to write these 2 lines of a poetry. So being in this moment, he's like looking around kind of, or he's just like look inside himself or whatever, just like kind of what is it to be in this like final moment of your life. And he then writes it down in the form of this tanka, and this kind of like consider it's like top, like most like a top level of art and like artistic achievement, you know, this kind of like bigger than life thing. So this kind of like what he doing. So just to look at this, it's like I kind of like aware, you know, like people, like some people with low experience in art, they probably is like it will screw their brain. It's like, what is that? Yeah, so he not only one who doing this stuff. There is also, it's like Taiwanese artist, who's, forget his name, just anyway, you know, it's this kind of principles there everybody use. It's just difference between a more literate and less literate artist. And then, like I say, you can use this principle when you're making like more realistic, less abstract work. And I will see it, you know, like artists will see it, and other people who cannot read you using these principles, they will feel it. It will be just using these principles elevate your work to very, very next level, kind of, when like everything for a reason. So look, yeah. It's so funny. It's like kind of like electrolyzed bird. Yeah, I mean, it's fantastic. So music, yeah. So, and you see, like what I was also just showing you. So in music, you can create there this like busy, quiet, kind of playing with this like movements. Also, we can notice, like I say, different artists have different preferences. Like some artists, like they will draw people more like a stone, you know, like a kind of like a stone sculptures, like carved from a mountain, you know, some like a thing like David Finch kind of for me looks like this, like when he draw like characters, especially this like male characters, they look like carved from a stone. Yeah, hello Horace Armour. Yeah, like Hakusai using same kind of approach. And we see Treadmoor, his flavor kind of, his taste is this kind of like psychedelic lines and shapes, so they have this like groovy flow, all right? And he make it with the lines when lines change thickness. So you see like here, right? So line go, and it's like pulsation within a line. Here, like it goes thin, then big, and it can be like crazy big. So at a certain moment, line became shape. So kind of like a transition again, transition from line into pattern, from kind of mark into shape. Так. Okay. Also, I want to invite you for one more concept. So this I have in my video about advanced urban sketching. This thing, I kind of like discover it and develop from my practice, like from drawing, outdoors. Like I've been drawing like how many years? Yeah, almost 20 years. Now I not draw so often, but like for 10 years I've been drawing like crazy, just like every day making like 2 or more pictures, just full time every day drawing outdoors. So, and I was like kind of working and creating kind of like more complex philosophy for myself, of composition and principles, and like trying to more and more crystallize and organize way I'm choosing and working on composition, So, and then I create this table when I've been making workshop about urban sketching. So we can like kind of like we can break down this image, visual image, which you make into 4 aspects. So this 4 aspect is like communication or representation, because like when you draw, you're not directly showing what you see. No, it's never works this way. You cannot directly show, only like if you point kind of finger, right? But still people will not see what you point at, because you point on how you see it. Like I show you into all this complex structure which I able to see because I know all this composition. I have a lot of this experience of breaking down, and I find like complex harmony, find all this amazing color palette, perspective grids, composition grids. I can see it all. So if I show you, if I point at you, if I point at view for you and say like, look at this, it's fantastic, he will not see what I point at, right? He need my vision. So this kind of thing with art, you might have it in your mind entirely, or you might like draw like real place. Anyway, it's interpretation. It's like translating concepts from one language into another language when there is not, where like in another language such concepts not exist. You cannot translate. They don't have idea for this. So instead of translating, you need to create a certain image which make so this image will make it understandable somehow, so, and this is kind of like communication representation, kind of made from this like 4 aspects, like verbal, non-verbal, concrete, and abstract. So, and you see like let's say a verbal is like I when I speaking kind of, right? So when concrete verbal, it mean I can say is like, okay, it's like a pen, right? So and it's like exact pen. It's a Lamy Safari fountain pen. So and this pen made of like have different parts. So these objects which have names. So it's because they have names, they're concrete. So you see, it's kind of like interesting thing, right? Like it's everything verbal which can be which you can put into words, right? And abstract verbal, it's ideas which is like you can use words to talk about ideas, but it's not as concrete as a pen. So it's something like true love, I don't know, country, environment. You know, it's like it's not exist in like exact form which you can just like hold, kind of this, right? So, and then we have like nonverbal, concrete nonverbal. So imagine it's like, no, in visual it's very easy. It's like, let's say like angry face. So we don't have, it's like angry face is not something which exists kind of like uniquely, like actual object, you know. So angry face is some kind of perception, and when you kind of like you can work on this perception, you can recognize angry face, or you can make someone experience like looking at angry face. So it's kind of what image is, right? It's some kind of like archetype. So, and then nonverbal abstract, it's these abstract forms. I'm talking today kind of with this Trad Moore. It's like triangles, shapes, circles, all this like rhythms, patterns and stuff. It's abstract forms. So, and these abstract forms again like exist in every communication. Like just that's why it's kind of genius. I don't know how I kind of just got this insight. It was like a lot of work actually, but you can use this table, this analysis for any art form, for any like communication form, because there is like abstract forms in the dancing, abstract forms in language, in music, in whatever. Everything breaks down in these four elements, like objects, ideas, images, and abstract forms. So, and then let's take picture. So let's say here, right? Like what you're looking at, what is object here, verbal and concrete. Object is this like humanoid, which you like, you know exactly, if you know like narrative from Spider-Man, like you know this guy is a Venom, right? So all this stuff you see here, you can name. So this is narrative layer of verbal objects. Venom, spiderweb, sky, building with windows. You can go, again, I have this like Gumroad video of advanced urban sketching. You should watch it, very cool. Because with these objects we can subdivide, we can break it into categories, so all this like kind of how's called hierarchy kind of work there. Because what is hierarchy will be here is like Venom, right? It's like main category or like a folder. This category exists inside narrative of Spider-Man, right? So you can say already like, okay, so this is considering it to Spider-Man narrative, Venom, it's a subcategory. But then if we look into this subcategory, kind of this folder of Venom, like I click on it, I open, and then I see subcategories for Venom, like what make him to be what he is or what it is. So it's certain elements kind of, which is also kind of like an object because they're verbal concrete elements. So yeah, he has this like humane body, like with all this what human have, you know, arms, legs and stuff. So it can be one category, so you know how to draw him. He's like kind of like a very buffed bodybuilder kind of, right? Then his head looks like some kind of a reptile, and you make this like subcategory for a head, and you say which elements of this head. So it's like special shape for eyes, then it's certain mouth with this kind of sharp tooth, and this like long tongue, you know, which also can be like when he's like talking or whatever, this saliva kind of goes out, you know. So all these kind of elements which you operate with, and you can do it like automatically without being aware of it, or as a more experienced, more professional, you can be more deliberate with this. So you can directly and deliberately work with verbal elements of image you're working with. It really helps a lot because you can choose like amount of verbal clarity. It's like how many words it should be, how many things should people be able say in their head when they look at your picture. Because like when I look this picture, my brain talking, my brain say like, oh, spiderweb, saliva, long tongue, sharp tooth, is like a Venom thing. There we have building, we have windows, we have like a sky, and there is a moon, you know, this kind of stuff, right? So also is like image is like how exactly this Venom looks here. So he look dangerous, you know. It looks like it's like have this kind of like intention to grab me or eat me or kill me, kind of this, you know. So it's like image of a predator hunting you, this kind of image here, you know, like a panther, or I don't know, like it's like you know, this like disgusting thing kind of chasing you, like a nightmare, you know. So it's the image here, it's this nonverbal concrete, nightmare, predator, chase. and you are like a prey here, you know. You are in danger. Verbal abstract idea. What can be like some kind of like something about Spider-Man universe, you know. So it's like idea, kind of like maybe it's like most likely it's like a battle between this Venom and a Spider-Man, kind of, right? So it's kind of like first idea you have in mind when you look at this. So they probably, like me as viewer, standing in a place where a Spider-Man stands. So it's like kind of Spider-Man point of view. I'm like looking, it's like, what the hell? And this like Venom like jumping into you, you know? Or maybe you are like some character like who is like walking in the street. It's like la 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 la. It's like, wait a second. And here's like, what the hell? It's a Venom jumping. So it's kind of this confrontation within Spider-Man universe, kind of. So maybe it's like you will be like a victim for a story, or maybe it's beginning of a fight between Venom and Spider-Man. I don't see any much more ideas, but you know, sometimes can be like more ideas. You can make it political, you can make it philosophical. Here, I don't see much philosophical or whatever stuff. This one can be like more like philosophical with this Silver Surfer, because he have like 3 hands, so probably he have like 6 hands. So it's some like as an idea in or image. Yeah, it can be an image like of a, I think it's a Shiva in Hinduism, like who have like 6 hands or many hands. And the idea is, so it's like became this like transcendental kind of message here, something like this world is have many like multiverses and some kind of parallel world or interdimensional dimension where have all these stairs and doors, you know. So, and he kind of like this Silver Surfer is kind of interdimensional being which can travel through dimensions and can operate within interdimensional space. So this kind of idea you may have subconsciously kind of when you looking at this image, you know. And the abstract forms, yeah, abstract forms is all this like 2D abstraction I was talking about. All right, so you see, so he is like kind of like, also this spider web is also like created. If we talk back to image again, it's like look like a wire kind of, which can capture victim. So an abstraction here with all these written patterns and structures, it's also, you see, have this spiral kind of which he makes synchronize with the moon, so it's kind of like going in the moon. And also this why he using subdivision into squares, because subdivision, again, as I was talking, subdivision of a picture plan of a surface, of your work surface, subdivision kind of help you to reveal it's like kind of like energy spots, like some kind of a concentration points inside your picture, because this is why he doing it, because then see like he choosing like, I will draw here. Also, where is the chat? Chat. Scene. No, okay, anyway. Так, let's do it here. Draw. So we have central line. So you see he kind of like with these subdivisions he make square, and the center of a square it's this like a vanishing point. Also you see this vanishing point. So as I was talking, perspective creates this structure for composition. And also when he break down surface into models, into the squares, he also creates this like a structure for composition. So let's say if we subdivide this square, so it's like I leads here for this thing. Then this point from a center of a square, you see he align this arm to follow to this point. And basically also his body following this point, his head, and the arms here. So it all works for a clarity. And even this one, look, so having square, right now we have this point. So this point here is this like they have this like in Hinduism again, this kind of center, some kind of center in the pubic area, I guess. Or so here he, I think, kind of deliberately doing this, but also this point can be like another pivot. And if we look for this and say, oh, you see some stuff start to be matching to this pivot. So, and this approach, you see, serve this idea of make everything for a reason. Because like there can be reason as a storytelling, like I say, oh, a certain situation, so there will be certain objects which such situation will my or must have. If a certain object, it will have certain elements which is typical or necessary for this object, and etc., right? But as artist, you should also work on same way with the abstract composition. When you like whatever you choose, whatever kind of schizophrenia approach you will choose for organize abstract visual elements, important is that you should have certain rule, certain principle for this. And like Andrew Loomis, he have his thing, which is like I try to do, I don't understand, it's not for me. Trad Moore have this thing, and I have like little my own thing, but they're all aligned. They all similar with this idea of creating like a underlying structure, underlying pattern. So here you see like this new point here, and now we have this like arm kind of going towards this point. Так. Oh, here is not, but okay, this one, kind of these lines going kind of somewhere. No, not exactly. Anyway, so it can be like, again, how Andrew Loomis showing here, and he does this like with informal, so-called informal subdivision. See, when it's like these lines help to, it's not like you should follow them. It's like, oh, you like, because I see some artists, they really go on like kind of schizophrenic on this stuff. Don't go this way. Like when they say like every line you draw, you should kind of like measure it and subdivide. Like you cannot just draw random line. No, it's not about this. It's about it's kind of like support. You know, it's not like every line should be following this, because when you have like a large amount of patterns, you know, it will be just impossible. So certain amount of work you doing intuitively, certain amount of work you can use this approach as just like give you some suggestion, or most of all what it's used for is for some general composition placement. So it's like where is some points of attention. So, or is like general shape, like this kind of some triangular shape, or some kind of general shadow shape. In the final work, you will not make it like as a straight line. It will be like a little more curved. But in a stage of developing composition, you like kind of like start from this approach of finding some kind of power lines or power points within a structure kind of in your picture. Так, okay. Let's see. Oops. Oh my God. Just break my favorite cup. Okay. Crazy. Так. Let me fix. Yeah, you can become member of my channel, so I will buy a new cup. Oh my God. Так. So let's break down some pictures. I can draw them from Threadmore. Так. Okay, for example, this picture. So here you see так. Let's think green. So you see here this like we have this kind of movement. Then we have this rhythm. It's like one rhythm. And then we have second rhythm, and this blocks on the wall. And then it go there. Then we have this like symmetrical rhythm, so it's make this pattern, right? And then it's kind of going alone, not exactly same direction, but there's some kind of like second wave going alone, like same direction, right? And this, so it's tapering. It has this grace. You see, it's kind of very interesting. So grace, grace line, it's like S, right? And when you put two grace line, make it tapering. So it's kind of like a very popular shape, which you see a lot artists doing. So we have one here, made from this two grace lines, and here. So it's kind of little, start to curve this way. Also you see here, notice transition. So I told you about this pattern, right? And then this rhythm, this pattern, here is been just 1, 2, 3, and then here it's transition into this shape. So this kind of what I mean when I was talking like you organizing everything. So now we have like interesting like broom shape here. And also you can look for all these negative shapes, like there also. Kind of have a rhythm and transition. So from like bigger to smaller, kind of playing with them. I think what else? Okay, it's kind of enough here. So, and this one, so this center here is vanishing point, is the vanishing point. So it's being like perspective grid, but also composition grid. So mere like underlined structure for composition. Right, have all this. And then we have a rhythm, like repetition of a character. We have this, it's kind of like playing, you see he playing with images and ideas. This how it make this kind of approach I describe in this table. It's help you to make like deliberately every work to be like multi-dimensional, multi-layered, instead of just kind of, oh, it's just a picture. You can make it be like very deep and heavy with many layers. So here you see this like glasses which like creating this like a rhythm, and here's like half glasses. It's kind of so cool. And characters and one character standing to front and one character standing back. So idea here, which you subconsciously read even if you're not aware, is kind of about identity crisis. It's like she, like this character, is like being broken, like a mirror, you know, like broken, and like, yeah, like I just broke my cup, you know, just like she decentralized, feel like kind of broken apart and scattered, you know. And it's like very intense, kind of nervous, and can feel this like a pressure here, because it's all like concentrated kind of in her, like almost like a arrow kind of, you know, pushing and punching. Так. And this one. And this kind of like, I do a lot stuff like this. This is what I love to do in my works. Так. So let's say change color. So we have this like a down shot. It's like overhead. So I've been talking. Just freehand capture. Where's Y vanishing point? So here we have this Y vanishing point, right? And this X and Z. So this perspective grid. Kind of perspective grid here. We have like objects, right? What objects here is staircase, stair treads, walls, doors, door, a sign on the door handle. Then we have character cast and shadow, character have his own elements, and this some kind of tiles, right? And then abstract, it's you playing with the rhythms. It's like how this lines down, 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 down. This rhythm. Then we have pattern on the ground. Squares. Then the squares breaks into smaller squares here. So this place is like very kind of like tyrannical place. Everything very strict, very measured, you know. As I think kind of also image and idea kind of he wants to show is like how this guy being entrapped inside this extremely organized environment. This kind of a little kind of rebel guy character. And you see again also these rhythms of stairs. And this what I was also talking a lot previously in other videos. It works best when you align 2D abstraction with perspective. So 2D and 3D align together, so they both reinforce each other, and only because they coexist they really works. Because if you only make 3D and you not consider, you're not kind of meticulously develop 2D abstraction, your 3D drawing will look, well, it will feel kind of like a shallow and meaningless. You know, it will feels like this lack of musical aspect will be really make it very dull and pointless. It's just like, okay, yeah, it's kind of realistic, it's kind of 3D, so what, you know. And if you make only 2D abstraction and without 3D, it also looks shallow. It's look like just okay, just some kind of childish drawing, or it's like abstract art, you know, with this like this kind of so kind of what. And only when you synchronize them, like so they start to like reinforce each other, this like abstract aspect makes 3D forms like being like really efficient. And this by synchronizing abstraction with 3D structure, this abstraction really starts to sing, you know, it starts to be like so solid and based. So it's very, very important. And Trad Moore, he kind of very clever with this stuff. Так, so.
This is
It's okay, let's draw, for example. So maybe I will also make a video to put together all my favorite artists, like Katsuhiro Otomo, Möbius, Tsutomu Nihei, Trad Moore, and show how different and similar they are. And it's like for many years I've been studying them and just looking how I can kind of like how I can apply elements in their work which I love, how I can apply them to my work, how can I take them. So here I draw with like X axis for a grid, then we have, whoops, z-axis. So the z and x axis here is just parallel. They're just parallel lines. And for for y is about here, y vanishing point. So it's our overhead type of camera angle. So then we can compose now. So we have this like staircase. So you see again for staircase, I also find now this 1, 2, 3. So for staircase also have this element here. So it's like so some threads, which also kind of pattern, because we have this thin line, like thin shape, like 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. And then at certain moment it's just a line. So it's also transition from thin shape to line, and big shape became smaller, like more narrow. So here we'll have this square tiles, and here wall and door, and the character. Okay, here. This door. So if you want super sharp and straight line, you can use ruler. Так. So this character here. Threads. Here. So see again, if we look at this without 3D, it's very interesting abstraction, but without 3D it's not so fun. So we have like this geometry, this triangle, these lines. So trying to just example without 3D is kind of interesting, like this moving rhythms and shapes. And this like contrast. I also wanted to show this one. So cool. It's like fluid face. Madness. So again, look like you can draw face so many different way. But then he make like every element of a face to work for a flow. So some kind of like same like a river. So here's like moving down, and then it's just like a melting face. This. Так, and let's do this one. So here we have this grid without vanishing point. So vanishing point kind of outside of picture plane, like this. Also this curve. Here. Yeah, and I've been like little quick. I don't use ruler, but if you want like exactly effect from Threadmore, you definitely need ruler. Yeah, I think he spent a lot of time for each picture to refine them. No. Kind of make them all to be so clean. Так. So for this one, we have vanishing point Z in the center. Y vertical, X horizontal. So she's like this character. She's standing kind of in the center of pyramid here. Yeah, that's crazy. This picture is so cool. Так. And this curve for shorts. And this like waist line. fractured. Yeah. So every movie they using same system. I think they're like formulated differently. This is kind of my system, Jing Bond system, but it's always same thing. It's always abstract, verbal, non-verbal, and concrete aspect of composition. It might be a visual composition or soundtrack or acting when like character emotes. So here go this. So cool. And this like frame is an elevator front door. I mean, this is like hello, I'm Fogato. Is this like look like so kind of transcendental, mind blowing? It's just crazy how kind of it's for somebody who is not artist. It might look simple, you know. I have this reaction sometimes from people. So what's special about this? It looks so easy to draw. Yeah, because kind of it's not oil painting. Then it's like very easy from their perspective. That's funny. That's so cool. Even can listen some music. Some ancient Greek music.
Sofremos
there kind of blur silhouette. I wonder now is no maybe he made this photograph in elevator. It should be something like this, or he found reference, which kind of like similar to this situation, kind of like person standing inside reflect kind of elevator with all these mirrors around. Probably I will Google this image, I'm curious. Or he took his own picture in this kind of elevator. So it's often this how it works. You think it's like, oh, this artist, he just take it from nowhere. It's like entirely kind of an imaginative image. But then you realize it's the same way like you looking for references, you know, or being inspired by real view in real life. And we have so many such views. We just, you know, like as an artist, like during day, I can notice many views like that. And when you really make this effort to like take some time and stand and draw this view, it's even became even more crazy, you know, just kind of like explode. Oh, forget her leg here. Так. Так.
Who are you?
Jim Bone.
Yeah, so I wanted just to show you, for example, what I'm talking about. So this, in where I live, we have this like shopping mall. This kind of shopping mall, I think. And it's incredible. It's like so many curved shapes. And I was just like, wow, I really need to draw it. And I even like, I doubt a photograph will capture it this way. So it's really only best if I I go there and draw from observation. So I drew this couple months ago, and you see it's kind of like have this Treadmoor, Möbius, and Tsutomu Nihie kind of combination. And this also what I say, it's like, imagine if me just thinking about, oh, I want to draw some scene like shopping mall or something, like where I will take it from. But here it's near my house, just like 5-minute walk, and I've been seeing it many times and I can ignore it. But this will be crime against art. You know, you also have this kind of responsibility to do your artist work and really capture these moments, kind of um, they're like whispering to you. They're there in the street, in your house, everywhere around you, calling you to draw them, want you to show their greatness. So don't be lazy. Here it's kind of funny. It's like not super artistic, not super developed, but as this kind of scene, it was some kind of event on a temple, and behind temple have this crazy view, like a mountain, city, and some guys like drinking soda and eat noodles. Just it's there. So my guys look so cool. So it's just like, everybody standing look in front. I just like turn my head back and I see this scene is like so crazy. So I just sneakily make photograph, and after I'm kind of trying to recreate this scene. I think it's very funny. What else? Maybe I can find some interesting example. Here I did some of my previous artworks. So some of my previous artworks I did this like breakdown of shapes. So it's also interesting, you can see these patterns and rhythms. So it's kind of like underpass. Here it's street, and in Nice, in France, some like street or yard. So it's look like kind of like Sin City stuff. But this urban sketches, I just take this transparent paper and extract these black shapes from them, so you can see these rhythms, like do tail in, and then these lines, patterns. This river village in China. Same, you see this kind of different type of patterns. Bricks, waves in the river, some windows, lamps. And you can even make like patterns in the way how you lay brush strokes. So this it's from Hong Kong. Let me take one more. This scenes from Hong Kong. So it's been urban sketches, then I did this like value studies. It's like you see it's kind of like freeway, like 2 layers, some buildings, kind of speaking about abstract composition. Так. Okay, so I think kind of this for today. So see you later. See you later. Так, wait a second. Where's
Jinbone.